I'm here with Travis of Cattle Decapitation. They're currently on tour in North America, and tonight they're playing at the Opera House in Toronto. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you very much for coming on the channel. How's the tour going so far?
It's been amazing. It's been probably one of our best headlining tours, pretty much.
When you guys are putting the set list together for a tour run, how much thought process goes between a tour in which you're a headliner and a tour in which you're supporting? Like, I know obviously the set time changes, but outside of that, do you take other things into consideration?
Yeah, I mean, the set time really frames everything, you know? Say with, like, I'm on a Marth, we got 30 minutes. So it's like, what can we do to get the most out of the 30 minutes? So you pack it full of, you know, heavy hitters, or, you know, what kind of crowd's going to be there? Are they going to be people that like emotional stuff, or are they going to be people that like, you know, brutal stuff, or, you know, whatever? We cover a lot of the gamut of extreme metal or whatever, so we kind of think in terms of that, you know. With this one, it was obviously has a bunch of Terracite stuff on it, and we're still, you know, enjoying playing Death Atlas stuff, and brought a few older ones back and stuff like that, but having done this for 20-something years with 10 albums under our belt, it's actually becoming kind of a chore to pick out what to play. I guess, you know, end up going a lot with the singles, or the stuff that we did videos for, or the stuff that we've seen resonate with people, the stuff that we like to play. That's one of the more important parts of it, I think, is how we feel about it, and hopefully people are into it, you know.
Is there a certain song that you guys are forced to put on that set list, regardless of what changes? Because if you don't, there will be riots.
There used to be. Like back in the day, it would be like Testicular Manslaughter, or To Serve Man was a big one for many years. And then Monolith comes around, so everybody wants to hear Forced Gender Reassignment, or Pacific Grim, I guess, stuff like that. But the ones that we did the videos for, because, you know, those are the ones that really resonate with people. So those kind of, or Bring Back the Plague would probably be another one as far as like newer stuff or whatever. So that's pretty much it. We have such a varied catalog that's kind of extensive that everybody's always trying to pick out deep cuts and say, oh, you got to play this song. It's like, holy shit, I forgot about that song. We never even played that one or whatever. You know, that happens a lot. So there's all sorts of things that go into curating a set, really, and that's pretty much it.
I've seen you guys in Toronto recently 3 times. This is going to be my 3rd time today. Every time I see you guys play in Toronto, regardless if it's a headliner tour or not, it seems like the fan base really comes out to see you guys. I just noticed the vibe before you guys go on stage, and then I noticed the vibe after you guys leave the stage. What does that tell you about your fan base? Like, does it surprise you?
They're loyal. Right, and we've got stuff that I think, I mean, I know it sounds weird when you're talking about death metal or extreme metal or whatever, but we have stuff that has emotionally connected with people. You know, there's been people that are in tears at the meet and greet when they're explaining to us, or to me, you know, how the lyrics hit them, or stuff that got them through, say, the pandemic, or just tough times in their life or whatever. That's very, you know, means a lot to me. And yeah, that's pretty much, fuck, I forgot what the question was. What was the question? Yeah.
I'll just move on to the next one, which you mentioned Bring Back the Plague as a track that people want to hear. How shitty did you feel when the plague actually came back?
There was a moment, honestly, I saw this one piece of shit, asshole, bastard that I know, that we fucking hate collectively. I saw him post like, yeah, real cool, man, real way to be insensitive, or some stupid shit. It's like, bro, this song was written a year ago, you fucking idiot. This song was written so long ago. How the hell would I have known? Shut the fuck up. You know, just shut the fuck up.
So people actually try to...
I didn't feel bad at all. You talk about relevant shit happens. That's all it is. Like,
yeah, but people actually try to correlate the two things, like somehow you guys are the reason why.
Well, in a joking manner, yeah. That's why I was just like, this guy hates me so much. He'll do whatever it takes to make me look bad. Even make, you know, this ridiculous narrative that, like, you know, I willed it to happen, or that I'm reveling in the fact people are, their people's parents are dying or some shit. No, I was fucking at home masking up and shit, doing the same fucking thing as everybody else, trying to. My parents are 80 years old. My dad's health is not. It has been in decline for years. We did the right thing as much as we could, at least whatever that means, throughout the whole thing. So no, come on, it's just fucking death, or it's extreme metal, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, lighten up a little bit.
People are just, people just like to twist things to fit how they feel, and then they try to get people, either canceled or just a light shed on them. That's unnecessary and just, I don't know. I see a lot of fucking bullshit going on out there in comment sections and just in general with social media. It's all social media based. None of it's real.
I agree with you. Twitter is not a real place, or X or whatever it's called. TikTok is definitely not a real place. But what's real is these last two records that you guys released. I know they're not necessarily tied in as far as like an overall arching concept, but there is a sense of sequence from one to the other. As you probably know, everything worth doing is worth doing 3 times. That's why we always have great trilogies like the original Star Wars.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, so will there be a third that will tie into these two in the future?
Well, let's see. So, Monolith, Monolith of Inhumanity is where this timeline kind of started. That has culminated in this Terrasite thing. It found its way into Anthropocene. You see the monolith in the background when you open up the panels, of the art, and you see the second panel or whatever. So conceptually, I keep things very loose. All my lyrics seem to be based on images, and I think in terms of images, and a lot of my lines are just real, like, sort of blatant. I don't really tell too much of stories. If I do, it's done like the only way I could put it is like I speak in images, if that makes any sense to anybody, and just very sort of bluntly, blatantly in some things, but while trying to still make it somewhat poetic, somewhat sort of artistic or whatever. The concept that I have for the next record, because I always have the next one or two in mind when I'm doing one. I wanted this timeline to end with the Terrasite, but we'll see what happens, because in the last 3 years or so, during the pandemic and everything, last 4 or so years, the way people consume music has drastically changed. Everything's singles based now. Personally, we write albums. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I have ideas. I got all sorts of ideas. I just don't know what the end game is. Like, are we going to be doing? Are people doing EPs now? Are we doing shorter albums? Are we doing singles only? How's this going to work? Where's the money coming from? How does the label going to sell this? All these questions I still have yet to be answered and then digested by myself. I don't know what the hell what is going on, but I do have an idea I've got a couple ideas. If we do an EP, then I've got an idea for it. If we do a full-length record, I got an idea for it. I've had an idea for it this entire last record. In fact, Terrasite was supposed to be the concept for Death Atlas. I actually had the concept for the Terrasite one first. That was supposed to be what Death Atlas was, but there was this not a stroke of luck. Just an idea popped in my head for Death Atlas, and I was just like, actually, I'm gonna put the roach guy or whatever. I'm gonna put the roach human off to the side for now, and I'm gonna do this. And I'm glad I did, because I was able to conceptually much easier tie Anthropocene to Death Atlas than I was gonna be able to do Anthropocene to Terrasite. It's too much of a jump. So with Death Atlas, the whole world is wiped clean. There's just nothing but these charred remains of people that resemble like the Pompeii bodies in Pompeii, and from the Mount Vesuvius disaster. And so I kind of used that concept to bridge to Terrasite, to where actually those things turned out to be incubation stages of a much more horrible version of humanity. Terrasite is effectively a human 2.0. The only reason we didn't call it Human 2.0 is because that's the name of a NASM record. Or else it probably would have been the title or something like that, because that's kind of the idea that I had in my head the whole time. And, you know, equating humans, all of humanity, to a really incessant, you know, creature that kind of bugs the shit out of everybody on Earth.
Yeah, my head says it all.
Yeah. There you go.
When I listen to your music, first of all, let me say this: when you guys released Death Atlas, I was like, how are they going to surpass this? Because I thought that was like the peak, like Mount Everest, you know, climbing Mount Everest and putting your flag there right on top.
Thank you.
And then you guys do Terracite, and I was like, fuck, they found a mountain bigger than Mount Everest, and they climbed that shit too.
Yeah.
And then they put a flag on top. Do you feel that the success of these two records will add extra pressure, or you don't even worry about that?
Dude, every time. Ever since we started feeling the pinch, probably after Karma even. And then we got Dave, which really changed everything. We were able to really explore more of a modern take on stuff. We're very much a half modern, half like old school. You know, Josh and I are in our 40s, and so there's younger blood in there that really helped keep things more modern and fresh, I think, you know, because I'm still stuck in the 90s as far as death metal goes or whatever, me personally. So that helped. Dude, I'm not kidding. What was the question again? Sorry,
Dude, you guys,
I am fucking ADHD.
do you guys feel the pressure coming off of the success of these two records?
So ever since Monolith, for sure, dude, it was like, God, how are we going to outdo that one? Because everybody was so, you know. And I personally hate that idea that we have to feel that way, that we have to outdo ourselves, because it's not a goddamn competition. And then, you know, if you don't, because I guess we've raised the bar to a certain level, and if you don't meet that, people are, blah, 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 but you can't fucking please everyone anyways. Death Atlas truly is probably my favorite Cattle record. I love Terracite. It has, I do absolutely love the record. Death Atlas had such a weight to it, and it was very, I'm into depressing, somber kind of stuff, emotional stuff, which Terracite has as well, even deeper so, on a personal level than Death Atlas. But Death Atlas, God, at the time I was actually really, it was like the first record where I'm like, man, I really like this and could sit and listen to this, you know. I've always found it weird to sit and listen to our own stuff before. I don't know. Just, it's cool. When I'm listening to it, I think of like, man, I wonder, you know, this is what, I try to listen to it from someone else's ears, you know. And Death Atlas was the one where I was actually a big fan of. Not to say I wasn't a fan of the other ones. It's just harder for me to gauge an opinion on it when I'm part of it, you know? I don't know.
You're on the inside. It's hard to see the forest from the trees.
Exactly, dude.
One of the things that you guys did do really well in general, not just in these two records, but you always done this really well, is that when I listen to your music, I feel like you're always giving me a message. There's always something to be learned, either from the record in general, from the overall arching idea of the record, but also from the individual songs. But you don't do it in a preachy way. Like, you're not trying to shove it down my throat. You're just kind of putting it out there and making me think about the viewpoint that you're putting forward, and making me wonder, like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
Well, in the lyrics,
does that come from your vision, like from seeing the pictures as well?
Well, yeah, but also, like, I've always maintained that it's us and we. I never say you know, or they or whatever. It's always us and we, meaning we're also part of the problem, being humans ourselves. You know what I mean? So that's the thing I want people to understand, is that this is not a person preaching. It's a person going, we're fucking up, dude. You know, we're also part of it. And I think that's important for people to understand, because there's people out there that think I'm some, like, you know, bleeding heart, friggin', you know, I don't know, the SJW warriors. I don't know what the fuck you would call it. I don't know. And I'm just, you know, another one of these chunks of meat walking around on
I don't see you starting a GoFundMe for the furniture of your new apartment. So I don't know if that's
I can't comment on that.
I don't know if that's.
Destroyed in comments.
But I think you put things in a very poetic way that allows the listener to take what they want to take, and at least, at the very least, it makes you think. Because it's not putting you in an uncomfortable position of being blamed for something that's happening, but rather like be part of what the problem is, and you're just another one that's part of the problem. And I think that's a very inclusive way of telling other people that, hey, we're all fucking up here. It's not just you and me, but it's us. We're all in this together.
Yeah, and there's no sense in preaching to the choir. So we're in a very we're in a genre that isn't really conducive to the type of lyrics that or the message or the subjects we talk about. It's sort of like oil and water, and I like that. I personally like. I'm one of the people that I'm a fan and defender of the underdogs. You know, the people who don't get the fair shake, or the people who are either shunned by society or made fun of or whatever. You know, like I'd rather be a champion to those kind of people than just another one casting the stones, I guess. You know.
Makes sense to me. One last question for you, because I have to ask you this. Every time you guys played in Toronto, the going back into the fan base and the shows, the merch lineup is something that I've never seen before. I mean, this is like Taylor Swift shit. You guys had your merch in a separate area last time you played in Toronto, and the lineup, it was insane. Like there was more people buying merch from you guys than all the other bands put together. Did you guys brought enough on this tour to satisfy all the fans? And what do you account
it's too
that?
much, man. I think it's too much. We're gonna actually cut it down from here on out. It's very simple. I had too many ideas, and I made them all happen at once, like an idiot. When I should have just pieced them out over a few tours or some shit. We just did it all, and our merch. Well, it's not like our merch company's gonna go, no, dude, don't do that much. You know, they're like sitting there going, sure, whatever, dude.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, but everything is done in like fairly limited quantities. You know, it's not just fucking. We don't print more than we can sell for sure. But I'm gonna start cutting it down. There's just too much. It's too much for our merch guy, I think. You know, and for me because I help him out. You know, I work very closely with the merch and stuff. The merch is the thing is I got a lot to say and I got a lot of ideas, and that's where those ideas really proliferate. It's going to be in the merch. I have things and ideas for these terrorist sites, actions and things that they're going to do, things that they're going to evolve into. That's going to take place within the merch on this album cycle. So it's the time. It's the one thing where I get to really exercise creative freedom, big time. I pretty much curate all that shit. And
was that raid one your idea as well?
The which one?
The raid.
God, I can't remember. I know I think so.
Because that one was
Might have been Josh. Shit, I don't know. Josh. The other guys will come up with things. My wife comes up with a lot of stuff sometimes. Just like, she'll put the little cherry on top. There's this shirt we have about drop bears in Australia. Like, sorry, Australia, but they have this joke with all the tourists that come through that there's koalas that live in the trees, that there's a certain breed of them or whatever that drop down on you and will attack you. And
really,
the way to keep them away is you put Vegemite behind your ears, and it's just to get tourists to put Vegemite behind their ears, like it look like idiots, which I think is hilarious. So my wife we had this shirt made where these drop bears are like, the dude's like, oh, he's getting eaten by these cute koala bears, and my wife was like, well, why is he going like this? And I said, he's reaching towards the viewer for help. She goes, well, you should put a can of Vegemite right there. I'm like, God damn it, she's a fucking genius. So that's what we ended up doing, putting a little can of Vegemite right there. He's reaching for, you know, things like that.
That's why it sells, because it's these great ideas. I mean, people, you're not just supporting the band, you're not just buying a shirt, you're buying a great idea.
Yeah, and then sometimes the guys will come up with a good idea, and I'll riff off that, and we'll get something, you know, really good put in place or something.
Well, Travis, thank you very much for your time today. It was an absolute pleasure to
thank
chat with you about the records and about the touring. Best of luck with the rest of the tour, and enjoy the holiday season
thank you.
with
You
the
too.
family and loved ones, and hope to see you back next year.
For sure, man. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Appreciate it. You too.